Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We are live all across the universe and the multiverse, allegedly. It is Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Blake, do you happen to have the list of the stories that we're going to cover on today's The Agree to Disagree show? Because what we're going to do is we're going to cover these stories, and then we're going to let President Trump speak to you. A couple of days ago, Blake and I were in Washington, D.C. for the Libertarian National Convention. President Trump was speaking, and he had a lot of pertinent things to say about this trial that he's been wrapped up in, the Stormy Daniels Cohen situation with Judge Merchan in New York. He had stuff to say. He's kind of under a gag order, but he's speaking anyway. Let's focus on that because we're all kind of on verdict watch at the moment. We all want to know what the verdict is in this case. So why not show you some of the footage, and we're going to react to it live. We're together, all of us. Leave your comments below, but we're going to play parts and components of the speech, and we're going to pause it and offer some commentary, and we're going to go through it piece by piece. Anything you want to add, type it in your comments. However you're watching, I'm not sure if you're on X. We're at American_media_ on YouTube, thenewamericanmedia.com. So find the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show in all of the places. This guy is TV's Blake Walley on X, and thenextlevelnews.com is where his archive is. So, Blake, do you have a list of those stories we're getting into? And we're going to bounce right to it.
I have counted and double counted 22 open tabs right now. So, yes, I do have quite a bit to go through. But, yeah, we can go through a lot of it pretty quickly just to get caught up on the major news stories of the day. And then we can dive into the speech.
Sounds good. Well, let's get today's show started on the Agree to Disagree show on the newamericanmedia.com.
Okay. Blast from the past.
Indeed. Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time, Blake. We go to where interesting things are happening, and we try to talk to the players and figure out what's what sometimes. Has there been one story we've been to, Blake, before we get into today's news? Has there been a place that we've attended that you maybe were surprised at how it actually was versus what you thought it might be before you got there? We've been to a lot of interesting spots. Is there any place in particular that surprised you more than the rest?
Well, certainly it's hard to beat January 6th or the Bundy Ranch. So we were at two of the major American historical events of the past decade. And, who knows? Maybe of this century when it's all said and done. Who knows? But those were huge, huge events.
They were.
RNC is awesome. The DNC was awesome. The Libertarian National Convention that we just saw. But, nothing can compare to those other two.
Yeah.
Did I miss one?
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, where do we begin? There's so many of them. Did I miss one? I did the Occupy.
Both like beginning of is it going to be a revolution or what's happening here? This is some crazy Americana.
Yeah,
The
it
government,
really shows just
people.
how tense moments
Yeah,
can get. Like next levels of tension. I was very unsettled by 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 that Bundy Ranch event. It resonated inside of me in a very tense way, in a very
yeah.
uncomfortable way. Yeah, that stand down was legitimately something to participate something to document. It's definitely, in hindsight, I'm really glad we were able to interview the people we did, whether it was Pete Santilli or some of the members of the Clive and Bundy family. But that's what it's all about. Like, some stories will not get told properly if nobody's there to ask the question and record it and deliver it to you. Sometimes you never know what's relevant, and that's why it's important to be at the events, for sure. So let's jump into today's program. We're starting with the topic we're going to pivot to later, since it's on everybody's minds. We're doing a bit of a different version of today's The Agree to Disagree show, because we're all on Trump trial watch 2024. Any second now, there could be a verdict, and that's what we're all waiting on. So that being said, let's start with that. Blake, do you agree or disagree that this is a sad day for America, regardless of Trump's New York case?
Yeah, absolutely, because this shouldn't be happening in the first place. But this is a highly politicized environment, and so the stakes have never been higher. And so now we're persecuting former presidents, trying to get people off the campaign trail, election interference. It's getting pretty dirty. So it used to be we were all united. We had little differences of opinion here or there, and now you've got two sides that want to imprison their opposition. So it's pretty wild that they're now the divided states of America. But yeah, I'm kind of taking a headline here from the Gateway Pundit, and that's from Trump himself. Let's see if I can pull this one up. Like I said, we got 22 quick tabs to run through. Whole world is watching. This is a very sad day for New York. President Trump speaks to reporters before jury deliberations continue in the lawfare case Thursday. So it's a sad day for New York. It's a sad day for America that we're enduring this, which is, well, let's be honest, it's a highly politicized trial. There's really much to do about nothing, about whether there were, hush money payments to a porn star from an affair from almost 20 years ago that may or may not have happened, and some shady lawyers and a porn star. It's ridiculous.
And by the way, real quick, just three major points. Number one, my understanding is that the statute of limitations had passed, and then they had to change the law to make this work. Or am I confusing this with E. Jean Carroll? I know what happened with E. Jean Carroll. Did they do it in this? Anyway,
they had to make because falsifying business records, they had to turn that into a felony. And that's
these are misdemeanor bookkeeping penalties normally, but they changed misdemeanors into felonies somehow, right?
Right.
Okay, so there's that component. Now, is it confirmed that Stormy Daniels letter that is floating around, is that accurate, where she put out a statement officially, attached her name to it, and said, I've been asked this in 2010, 2013, 2015, 2018, and every time my answer has been, no, we did not have an affair. No, I'm not saying that because I got paid. I'm saying it because it's the truth. And I really don't want to talk about this again. Is that confirmed to be verified as far as your understanding? I thought that was true, but I just want to double check, because there's so many details to this case. It's hard to want to waste too much of your time dealing with the details, knowing that the entirety is so nonsensical. But do you know the letter that I'm referencing, Blake? I don't have it in front of me.
I do. And so the only issue that I have with it is that she signed it with her stage name, Stormy Daniels, as opposed to her real name, which is, I think, Stephanie Clifford's. So I'm not 100% on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that may or may not be the case. It's just essentially the tax preparation for that year checked a box in one category instead of it being in the other, and they're trying to make this a federal case. They're trying to kidnap President Trump now, because that's what incarceration is. They're trying to kidnap the president because of a box that was checked in this category and not that category. Oh, the other thing that we found out.
Yeah, whether it was a campaign expense or a business expense, but it's like, come on, really? This is a waste of time. This is ridiculous.
And they keep saying, well, what is the charge? They still haven't articulated a crime.
No, they can't.
What is the crime? Because there's no penalty. Like, you can have agreements. You have non-disclosure agreements all the time. And this is a form of that. Whoa, well, it's a hush money. What does that mean? That's not a crime. What is the crime? Where is the crime? Is there any crime here? So the thing that we learned about Cohen, not only that he loves to lie when he is under the brightest of lights, he also stole from the Trump company. He admitted to stealing tens of thousands of dollars from Trump in the trial. Like, it just gets worse and worse and less credible for these people, it seems.
Yeah, they destroyed their credibility, both Stormy and Michael Cohen. So they're not reliable witnesses, and that's what their whole case is based off of.
Right.
So a shady lawyer and a porn star. That's what they have. And that's what they're making a big spectacle in New York over.
A priest, a nun, and a rabbi walk into a bar. That's what this is. It's kind of like a former president. No, what would you say? A wrestling Hall of Famer, a porn star, and a corrupt judge walk into a bar. Yeah, it really is absurd, Blake. So yeah, we're just sitting here waiting to see if there is some sort of update. Well, we'll provide that to you as it happens. Look for TNAM and the New American Media on Facebook, Meta, Telegram, where TNAM and TNAM chat. Subscribe to our Rumble channel, thenewamericanmedia.com. And our podcast on Spotify is called The Agree to Disagree Show. Also follow us on Truth, the New American Media. Of course, that's Blake at TV's Blake Walley on X. So what else do we need to know about this while we're watching for a verdict, Blake?
Just a few little points. Laura Loomer broke some news a few hours ago about judge in this trial. Judge Merchan's daughter, who's a political activist, Lauren, her clients from her Democratic political consulting firm at Authentic HQ have been given seats inside the Trump trial in New York City. Judge Merchan now allowing his daughter's clients to have unrestricted access into the Trump trial. The daughter of the judge is a Democratic political consultant. So Judge Vance, senior fellow, blah, blah, blah. She's been inside the Trump trial, writing articles which target and harass the members of the jury in the Trump trial. I mean, it's heavily politicized. So it's obvious, from looking at all of this, that the judge should, recuse himself. He's clearly biased. So that's one of the major issues with this. Another one, this is just an interesting note here. Corrupt prosecutor Andrew Weissman celebrating the lawfare trial against Trump, saying he has a man crush on Judge Merchan. This was on MSNBC. This is sort of hilarious in a sense, even though it's pretty sad. This is what passes for the news and the commentary and the people who are heavily biased calling this out. So here we go. MSNBC legal analyst on TV getting excited. Check this one out.
Noted with respect to Judge Merchan. I mean, I am like now, I have like a man crush on him. He is such a great judge that it's hard to see that the jurors wouldn't have the same impression. I mean, you just keep on thinking, if you looked in a dictionary for like judicial temperament, that's what you get.
Oh my gosh, Blake.
Yeah.
That is, when Chris Matthews got the thrill up his leg or the tingle up his leg. Was it a thrill or a tingle?
Thrill.
What is it?
Thrill, I think.
Thrill? Yeah. Okay, I had it right the first time. When Chris Matthews got a thrill up his leg that was about Barry, right? About Barack Hussein Obama?
Yeah, Barack Obama's speech, yeah.
Yeah, he got the thrill up his leg. This guy now has a man crush on Merchan, because I mean, even objective reporting, even left-wing reporting is saying that there is no case here. This is absurd. The stuff the judge has done is completely overturnable. Like none of this was done properly. None of this has been done convincingly. And if anything, it seems like it's really left this judge in a position where he's going to have his credentials thoroughly examined, and he might himself be facing charges because of the actions he's taken, especially with his daughter's involvement and the money-making opportunities attached to it. This is the definition of recusal. And by the way, the story floating around about how many of the Trump-affiliated cases is this specific judge going to get in the ping pong ball lottery? You really have to ask a question: who is involved in rigging this to deliver results like this, and who paid for it? Who's behind it? All you got to do is start looking under rocks here. It is obvious that these people are way above and beyond breaking the law across the board just to try to get the orange man.
Yeah, but even them outside of that guy Weissman, who just has a man crush. I mean, it's hard to find any legal analyst who has a credible point to be made. And so even this lady here, who's an NBC senior legal correspondent, is basically calling out how the Trump jury appears to be rigged. And no, she didn't say that in those words, but just expressed a shock, confusion.
Can you full screen
an unprecedented case? This is a 30-second clip. Let's run this from her.
I got him.
Can you full screen that?
These are so these are instructions from the judge that the jury has to follow. So it's like they're kind of leading the jury, and people were criticizing the judges, saying that they can still convict him either way. They want their guy. Alvin Bragg, the district, the prosecutor, he ran on this and going after Trump. And clearly Judge Merchan is biased here.
And essentially,
with his daughter, the political activist, yes, they have all kinds of reasons to try to get their man. This is a huge thing, and that they're, the whole Democratic Party seems to be counting on this. They've got to get Trump somehow, some way.
And they keep trying to lower the bar of it's getting so absurd. You see those stories all the time, Blake, where it's not the Babylon Bee. Stories so absurd you would think it was written as satire. It's like the judge is telling people, well, you don't have to specifically know what it is that was a crime, and you can infer that a crime was committed even though it wasn't proven that a crime was committed. And we don't need all four. Like, we could split 4, 4, and 4. And if you believe in some things and other, it's like, but most people are saying you have to be unanimously, that each case needs to be unanimous. And this guy's just crafting seldom used legal strategies or novel legal strategies that are not commonplace, and they're not commonplace for a reason, because they screech in screaming neon lights. This is absurd. You must review this and audit this and overturn this. There's a reason that this isn't commonplace. So yeah, let's take a listen to what these 50 pages of instructions are all about, confusing all the jurors because they are bending over backwards to try to say, well, you're probably not going to vote him, but look, you don't need to really believe him to just kind of do it. And yeah, we'll just sort of do it. Just anything you guys can do, please give it to me. But it's 50 pages of gobbledygook. Let's hear it.
Right, and it's wrong, because when you're part of the jury, that's kind of one of the things they're trying to override, is you don't have to go according to the law. You can go according to what you believe. So one of the reasons they had to stop, convicting like during Prohibition was because people didn't, they make the crime. Hey, it's a crime to, drink alcohol. But if people don't enforce the law, if the jury doesn't go along with it, then they can't convict on it. So eventually they had to, throw that out. So people have a right. That's one of the really important things about the juries. You can go against, corrupt laws. You don't have to follow it, and you don't have to follow the judge's instructions. But here we go. Let's run this quick clip.
The jury has to follow in Donald Trump's hush money trial before they can reach a verdict. 53 pages. This is complicated. This is lengthy stuff. It took the judge over an hour to read it. But guess what? The jury doesn't get this in the room during deliberations. They have to write questions, they can write notes, but they don't get these instructions. In New York, both parties have to agree and the judge has to agree. And in this case, it didn't happen. They don't have this in the room right now. I got it.
Yes.
That's beyond absurd, Blake. It doesn't even make sense. Like, you have to do something and they're just still not doing it.
Right. Yeah. No, they've got to get their guy, like I said. So They don't want them to vote on their conscience. They don't want them to look at what they saw. They want them to convict their guy. They're trying to lead them. It appears that way. But yeah, so very unusual. So, well, one of the things that was one of the highlights, I guess, from the Trump trial, at least out on the streets, was, speaking of MSNBC, was Joy Reid caught off guard by Real America's Voice, Ben Bergquam. Let's run this quick clip here. If I can pull this. Did I lose it? I guess so. I don't know what happened to it. All right.
Yeah, Joy Reid. That was a funny one. There's
yeah,
a lot
one
of
of the
that.
highlights from it.
There's a lot of that. Like, you have to hold people accountable, and like you have to have a back and forth a little bit.
Sometimes it's just kind of fun to troll certain people. She didn't take it too well. She didn't have a good sense of humor, just to kind of hang out and have fun. She's really a sad political hack. But here we go. Let's watch her get called out by Ben here.
Joey, just wondering, do you think people with Trump derangement syndrome know they have it?
You're an idiot.
And second question, did you steal Trump's haircut or did he steal yours? Cultural appropriation haircut right there.
Oh my God. All right, well done. Yeah, it's just good fun, media camaraderie. Having a little fun, but she takes herself too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, kudos. That's fantastic. And look, at the Libertarian Convention, and we're, by the way, for everybody joining us, this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. I'm Brian Engelman. That's Blake Walley. We're going to be doing a special episode when we tear through the news. We're also going to play you the speech from Donald Trump at the Libertarian National Convention in Washington, D.C. a few days ago. And we're going to do a live reaction, kind of discussing how it went. It was perhaps the most rowdy speech Donald Trump has ever given, the most raucous crowd yelling and jeering him back. So we're going to do a special episode of that. But yeah, when we ran into comedian Alex Stein and spoke with him after a comedy night, and this was around the time RFK Jr. gave a speech. That's all posted on our Rumble account, the New American Media, Blake, Next Level News, all that jazz. There's a lot of like Alex Stein right in somebody's face. He was right there with RFK Jr. and he hit him with a few questions, like saying the green new scam, calling out like, come on, that's not real. And then he said something back. He's like, no, I'm on your side. Like, the deep state killed your whole family. Like, I'm on your side. I want you to, like, it's tough. It's tough when you don't get a sit down of 10 to 15 minutes with the people you're trying to connect with. When in the absence of having some ongoing truncated conversations, which is what I prefer, you get a lot of these bursts of conversation, a lot of like really confrontational slingshot conversations, the little gotchas. And yeah, they have their place. They absolutely have their place. I just wish it were a little easier to get some real conversations with people, especially if you've developed a track record of having mostly civil conversations with people, just trying to kind of expand on some stuff and have decent conversations. It's just hard to do it. So you get either it's feast or famine. So I don't know. Some of those quick ones are hilarious. Some come off a little aggressive. Some of them are necessary, even though I don't like the style. And some of them are just timeless because you catch people in their element. I'm thinking, do you have any favorites from history? I was thinking back to like some We Are Change or like Luke Out There on the Trail.
He made a name for himself by confronting some really high level people. That was a long time ago. He's one of the OGs in this alternative media, and through We Are Change, he was kind of the rising star out of that group. And so, yes, that was the what do they call it? Was it gotcha journalism or ambush journalism or what have you? But he would just sneak in, maybe ask a legitimate, question. Then he would throw in a curveball because they were fine questions, but something that, the regular press would never, ever answer.
And that's so important that we ask tough questions. Like, let's have more tough conversations. I don't know who started leaning away from wanting to have tough conversations. We kind of demand tough conversations. That's the point. That like you don't have a First Amendment if you don't use it. You don't have a muscle. It will atrophy if you don't stay in a physical if your mindset isn't to keep using that physicality will fail you when you need it. And that's kind of what the Agree to Disagree show has always been about, is just trying to push the borders and the barriers of comfortable/uncomfortable conversation, because that's the point. I'm not interested in having mundane conversations. I like trying to stuff
right.
out.
But the corrupt elites, the establishment, don't want those conversations. So we've seen a major consolidation of media groups over the last 100 years. They don't like those types of things. That's what journalism was. It was, try to hold powerful people accountable. But then the powerful people started buying up all the newspapers and controlling what questions were actually asked. And now we're stuck with 5 or 6 major corporations that run most of the news.
Well, I will say this about the Libertarian Convention. Once again, we're going to replay the Trump speech in real time and react to it. I will give enormous credit to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and to Donald Trump for showing up into the Libertarian nomination process at their convention and asking them, kind of RFK really focused on the Bill of Rights only. And Trump's like, hey, let me tell you what's been going on for the past 9 years with me. I got a lot to say. But I appreciate their willingness to jump, and Vivek Ramaswamy as well. All 3 of them stepped into slightly or openly hostile situations. But that's the point. That's what you need. Keep in mind that Joe Biden was invited. He did not accept the terms. He did not show up. Does it make sense to listen to what someone's saying or to just yell over him the entire time? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that type of conversation with the irony of her haircut, Dreamer Ultra is asking, yeah, Dreamer, that haircut is, you couldn't write this in a script and kind of get it through. You'd be like, no way. No way. You ever see that guy on Facebook? He's like in the garage and he learns a new trick, like how to take washers off of it, something with WD-40. He's like, what? No way. And he just shows him walking out and doing it. No way that this girl doesn't understand the irony of her haircut. You wouldn't believe this if the main protagonist, if the main opposition to the main character didn't look just like them with the haircut, like Lego, like take it off on a Lego and set it onto another Lego, like what you do with the astronaut helmet or the race helmet or like the police cap or something like that. So, okay. Anything else we have about Trump here besides that Joy Reid thing was hilarious. Good job, Ben.
Not on the Trump trial, no. We can transition. We'll do a quick one on with him and Elon here.
Oh, okay. Well, then how about this? You change the chat, and I'll change the stinger.
All right. Well,
all right. Wait, I called it stinger. Is that what we're calling it now? I know it's the transition. It's stinger. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Good.
So,
okay.
Agree to disagree. So agree to disagree. Should Donald Trump team up with Elon against the deep state? Brian, what do you think?
I agree. But I would also put a caveat, a little asterisk onto that, because I think they've been teamed up for a long time. I was actually kind of curious to see if X and Truth Social were going to merge in some sort of way. But they've been simpatico for a while now. Ideologically, you've seen one go to the other's defense on more than one occasion. There's not a lot of area that there isn't at least a slight overlap policy-wise. That there are not really glaring frustrations and resentments between the two. I think it's a must. It's all hands on deck, Blake. That's how I see it. Anybody not crazy over on this side of the boat?
Right. So, this has been put out. Here's an interesting little meme put out from Autism Capital. But as you can see on the bottom there, Elon Musk kind of comment with his little laughing emoji as the most entertaining timeline to see these two guys form the big tag team, bring up another WWE thing.
You think he would step aside from his companies and serve as vice president?
Oh, I don't know. It'd be an advisory role. So
no, wait. Sorry. No, he was born in South Africa. He's ineligible.
Well,
is that the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing?
This is nothing to do with VP as far as I know.
Okay, we're just talking about teaming up on the same side of history. Yes.
How about a partnership to help save America, but not necessarily through the White House per se, but just between, with Trump, if assuming he takes the White House again and having that power and control, and then of course Elon with his running, Twitter X and what else have you, the super entrepreneur that he is. So, former President Trump considering sticking tech mogul Elon Musk into a White House advisory role should he take back in 2024, according to a Wall Street Journal report. Now, despite the two billionaires being known to have less than friendly relations in the past, they have reportedly had several phone calls per month since March. So that's quite a bit.
So do they elaborate on their testy moments? I guess maybe they're not jumping to my immediate memory.
There's always a rivalry going on with these billionaires, so I don't know exactly, but I know there's been little things in the past. I don't know offhand, but I know that hasn't always been like some super buddy thing. No.
Okay.
Not that they're didn't like each other, but yeah, we're talking about several phone calls per month since March. That's March, April, and May. So what does that mean? That's 12 to 15 phone calls. I don't know. So based on the conversations, though, Trump is seeking powerful donors to back him, whereas Musk would like to find an outlet for his desired policies. So, about a potential advisory role for the Tesla CEO in the second Trump term. Yes. Okay, so the two had a more contentious relationship in previous times. In 2022, Trump dismissed Musk as, quote, another bullshit artist during a rally. And then Musk reportedly replied by posting online that Trump should hang up his hat and sail into the sunset. But it's taken a more positive turn since.
By the way, pause right there. Yeah, right. When I was on with Real America's Voice, that is what I said. I believe that part of the segment may have been cut out, but I said Trump's a BSer and Vivek's a BSer. Now let me articulate. Let me drill down on that just a second to clarify. They're just wordsmiths. They're talented orators. A BSer can talk you into something. They can talk you out of something. They can talk you around in circles to the point where you don't realize that you never really got an answer to the question. And they're so good, they can usually get away with it, is essentially what I was saying, is that they're both talented in that way. But the Libertarian Convention audience, they were not interested in that. They wanted a yes or no to, will you free Ross Ulbricht? Will you free Edward Snowden? Will you free Julian Assange? And yeah, that just to clarify, that's what that particular part of the segment was. But yeah, he's calling him a bullshit artist, and he's saying he should ride off in the sunset. These are very mild Trump flame wars. What do we call them? X flares now. We're calling them Twitter wars,
right?
X flares. That's pretty mild, I would say.
Yeah, but it can be significant because they both have huge followings,
right?
But yes, but they were able to make it up, and I guess they met at a billionaire's house, and yes, buried the hatchet, and perhaps could be working together. Yeah, and I know Trump is blasted electric cars and things, so there's a few things. They're not always going to agree on things, and sometimes these billionaires do have rivalries. But not in this case. You're talking about two guys that believe in this country and want to make America great again. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're trying to rebuild things the right way, like these two, I mean, can we just press pause and think just real quick, just to say a thank you? Like, could you imagine anybody else standing up to the type of lawfare and the stunts and the cheating and what the Democrat deep state mafia has been up to for the past 10 years without Trump being a part of that? Is there anybody on the Republican side that has a spine, that has resources, that has the right instinct? That's not to say everything's been perfect, but man, combine that with, could you imagine the past couple of years without X? X is like the last free place online. Yes, Rumble's growing, and there's a lot of other sites that are out there, including Truth Social, which is it's a protest vote to make sure you have that as it continues to grow. But man, what Elon has done, Blake, to get X back to a place where freedom of speech can reign. I mean, these two people have done more for America and the world in the past couple of years or 10 years than maybe anybody else on planet Earth. I don't know how you could contribute more than a Trump or a Musk. And if they're teaming up together and helping on so many of the places where they agree on so many of the obvious points, this is a good thing. You want your most talented, capable, resourceful people working together instead of bickering over stupid, made up fringe issues. The Democrats love to do that. It's like, let's yell about race or sex or who you like to participate with and do things with. And now we're all divided. It's like, no, we're not. We're sick of the games that you're playing. We are on the same side about the important issues. You're not going to divide us this time. You're not going to set the whole country on fire again like 2020. We know your tricks. We know what you're doing, and it's grotesque. So I'm glad they're teaming up.
Yeah, we shall see. So it's good that they're friendly together, and we'll see if there's an advisory role, and that's all going to, happen assuming Trump wins.
Excellent. Anything else on this particular story, Blake?
No.
Okay, then we will go ahead and jump to the next one here on the Agree to Disagree show. All right, Blake, how about this one? Agree or disagree that Trump... Whoa. That got cut off.
Got a little messed up. We'll have to reprint that one.
How about this? That we should agree or disagree that we should listen to Niro, Fanone. Is it Fanone or Fancone? And Harry Dunn. Should we listen to them? Agree or disagree? We should. Agree or disagree.
Did you re-edit that one?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, we should listen to them so we could laugh at them, so we know what they're saying, and then also take a bigger, zoom out and take a real look at who these people are and what they're actually up to. They had a big publicity stunt going on outside the courtroom the other day with Robert De Niro and two of the more prominent activist police officers. We'll say that loosely. That were at the January 6th that were outspoken. So that kind of one of those details that didn't maybe get quite noticed, but we'll have a refresher on who those men are. But yes, it was it backfired, the stunt, and you had Robert De Niro kind of reading off of cards, and he was booed mercilessly, trolled by the Trump fans. Let's get this headline here. At the press conference outside the courtroom, disgraced actor flipping out, getting trolled. So let's take a look at this. Here's De Niro. He's actually still wearing the N95 masks, like this is April 2020 or something.
This is just. I keep saying things are straight out of Central Casting. There are so many things that just. It feels like you're in a video game simulation. It's like they kind of regurgitate the same stories, the same complaints, the same issues, the same people, the same tactics. It's just like it feels like we're in a weird loop. Like what is the performative part behind the need to do that? It doesn't really make sense. Like who's still doing that? Is there anyone still doing that? Is there anyone recommending or advising you to do that on a 85-degree day? Anyone, anywhere? Is there any point to that?
That on the Trump side, I wouldn't think. Apparently, some of these people still on Team Biden do that, but it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, it's definitely really hard on
issue. I'm sorry, what was that?
It definitely be a politicized issue. There's nobody on the Trump side who's, I believe. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's still wearing a mask. You've already proven that those don't work. But here we go. There he is, already getting. I was like, what is Well, we don't need to play too much yelling.
Does it say in the text what they're yelling exactly? It was a little hard to hear. I think they were cussing.
I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, they're just, it's mostly going to be Trump. There's going to be some foul language.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything specific that was said that we need to hear. But yeah, they're basically just saying "F you," whatever. But here's De Niro. Here's with a stammering, rambling press conference.
Oh, Bobby.
I mean, this is really, even these people over here are it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy, and this thing, Donald Trump has created this. He should be telling them not to do this, but he's just...
You're the one that are outside the damn Trump trial. It's a bullshit politicized trial. We all know it. And then you show up to try to put some credibility on it. And look at this. This right here. This is Harry Dunn and this is Michael Fatone. Two dirty cops. This is ridiculous.
Remind us again where we know Harry Dunn and Fanone.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Just hold that.
All right. It's in the thread. It's in the thread.
Oh yeah.
But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns.
Look at that. So he's saying we make room for clowns. But as you'll notice, he keeps looking down at his notes. So I don't think he actually wrote any of this. I think it's just one of the Democratic staffers decided to put this out for him to actually read. He's an actor. He reads his lines. He rehearses his lines. This was not rehearsed. This was him reading points and going back to it, as you'll notice.
We have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city. It's part of the culture. But not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that.
What?
Anyway, we make room for clowns, to each his own.
Just reading off the card.
But no one takes him or took him really seriously. They take him seriously now, of course.
Okay. Here's another quick one.
Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth.
This government will perish from the earth because of Trump. Are you kidding me? Again, I don't know if these are his...
Hold on, though. Can you rewind that? Can you rewind that 8 seconds? Start that one over. Because maybe he's actually right.
Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth.
Okay, I agree with him. Because
all right, so yes.
when Trump comes in swinging and real indictments are brought for real crimes, what Bobby's wrapped up in, Mr. De Niro there, that type of government will be destroyed. The cronyism, the fake news, the totalitarianism of everything that they're trying to push forward. It cannot continue when the wheel of power is steering in the proper direction. That stuff will shake off. That stuff will be dealt with. So I'm actually agreeing with him, Blake, because on round 2 with Trump, the revenge tour. The other people from Hillary Clinton with Fusion GPS, with Obama and Biden and Burisma, Blake, the 2020 election, when real district attorneys file real charges, his system will not work. It will be destroyed. Robert De Niro is right. I switched my vote on that one.
Okay, when you put it that way, I suppose you are correct. So I hope there's an end to the kleptocracy. So
Agreed.
We'll continue to roll here.
I don't mean to scare you. No, wait. Maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye.
He is completely reading a script
that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
Like the time he left last time?
Right. No, these people aren't living in reality.
No.
All right. So what? Yeah, one more quick one.
What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
I'm dictator for life. Come on. So yeah,
I like the car horn blaring back there.
Yeah, they're saying that was done deliberately.
Yeah, that feels about right.
Yeah, but yes. So if you want to take a quick refresher here with Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone.
Yeah, that sounds good.
These two guys right here in the back, standing behind him. Let's take a quick look at this old report that maybe got Tucker Carlson fired from Fox.
On Tuesday, Pelosi will call a Capitol Police officer.
So this is going back to the highly politicized January 6th show trial here. And this is one of the witnesses, Harry Dunn.
Officer called Harry Dunn. Dunn will pretend to speak for the country's law enforcement community. But it turns out Dunn has very little in common with your average cop. Dunn is an angry left-wing political activist whose social media feeds are full of praise, not coincidentally, for Nancy Pelosi. Here's a picture of the two of them together.
Isn't that interesting? Nancy Pelosi taking photographs with this guy.
Racism is so American, Harry Dunn wrote in one post, that when you protest it, people think you're protesting America. Hashtag leave it to whites to tell blacks what is racist. Hashtag I stand with Elon Omar. Hashtag squad. Harry Dunn, ladies and gentlemen, just another fact-based witness to the insurrection.
So, Brian, remember what he said? Let's give another refresher here. This is where he gives his testimony, his emotional testimony about January 6th. Now, this clip is a little quiet. We're going to switch over. I just want to get one point across, and then we'll continue to the next clip. So this is, he was allegedly inside the Capitol. Yeah, he was inside the Capitol during the January 6th event and trying to push the protesters out of it. We're here to stop the steal.
Oh yeah, it's really quiet.
Okay, he's saying Joe Biden is not the president. He's talking about
actually. You know what? I still have Tucker up on the screen.
Ah, cripes! I hate that. Okay,
yeah.
Here we go.
There we go.
He voted for Joe Biden. I'm a law enforcement officer.
So okay, here's where I'm going to cut this off real quick. He's saying he's basically reenacting a conversation that he had with some of the protesters, where they were saying, "We're here to stop the steal. President Trump invited us. This is our house, and there's Biden didn't win," and so.
And I do my best to keep politics out of it.
So he's saying, I'm a police officer, and I do my best to keep out of politics.
But in this circumstance, I responded. Well, I voted for Joe Biden.
But he responded, but
we can actually hear him. We can hear him now that you pulled up the screen. Yeah, you can just let him go.
Vote not count? Am I nobody?
Okay, so I'm gonna just skip there. He says he's not politicized. But let's take a look at this one. He's actually running for Congress. I don't know if he still is or not. Harry Dunn for Congress. Yeah, he's not political. Right, sure. Puts that beside him because he's, better as a police officer, being neutral, standing up for the community. But that's not true. So he is a political hack, and we've seen him sitting there with Pelosi, and now he's sitting up there with Robert De Niro. But now,
let me push back real quick.
Yep.
I mean, he found himself in the situation, and now he's gone this route to move away from law enforcement to try to get a role in government.
Well, he was clearly politicized before that, so he had some opinions. He said, I voted for Joe Biden, so clearly he had intention. Clearly, he was already with Pelosi. There was, he's obviously a political guy with aspirations. He's very biased in the way he sees things. He was against all of the Trump MAGA people that were in the Capitol to begin with. And now we're seeing him smear them. So brace yourself, because there are going to be a couple of N-words coming up that he is basically committing perjury here. So we'll see if this comes back to bite him. But this is a louder clip with the same stuff here. So let's check this out.
One woman in a pink MAGA shirt yelled, You hear that, guys? This nigger voted for Joe Biden. Then the crowd, perhaps around 20 people, joined in screaming, "Boo, fucking nigger."
With zero evidence. He just wants people to believe that. So this is his emotional plea as this activist cop going for Congress later, but trying to make it sound as though all the MAGA people were just hardcore racists that were hating him and joining in unison, shouting the N-word. So it's absolutely BS.
No one had ever called me a nigger while wearing the uniform of a Capitol Police officer.
Yeah, and they didn't there either, I bet.
In the days following the attempted insurrection, other black officers shared with me their own stories of racial abuse on January 6th.
Anyway, yeah, there you go. So that's Harry Dunn. He has zero credibility. And Brian, you shared this. I saw you post this somewhere.
Like television. Look at that. Who is he? Who is that redheaded comedian he's standing next to?
Kathy Griffin. But of course, yes, that is the other cop here, Michael Flatel. He was also speaking at the January 6th trial. So these are the two guys. Those happen to be the two guys that were with De Niro there in New York the other day. That's not a coincidence.
So they're in central casting. They might not be starting. They might not be in the starting lineup, but they're on the bench for every game. They get in. They get playing time.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And there he is. You can tell that he's obviously politicized.
Well, the whole De Niro thing. I'm trying to figure out how connected De Niro is to a certain island. You see people like Jimmy Kimmel and De Niro just. They appear to be suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, or they're being told that we did the most for you and you owe us back the most. It's not a matter of if you feel like doing it. It's a matter of you're going to do it. And we're always going to tell you what to do whenever we want to. Let's not ever get it twisted. That's the whole point of the blackmail and the bribery, right? So you see the same cast of characters repeatedly come out, embarrassing themselves. Like Cat Williams was talking about, the embarrassment rituals that some people go through, and it's a trip. You see the same type of people like Robert De Niro and Jimmy Kimmel, and it's just over and over. Or are they just suffering from a mental disorder? But like you said, when you look at the people in the backdrop that are accompanying him, it's an op. Someone's directed the scene, and here's the scene. It's goofy. So. All right. Well, we'll wait and see if Bobby's going to have something to say once Trump is let go because of a hung jury. That's my prognostication, Blake. Do you anticipate it'll be a hung jury, or do you think it'll be guilty or not guilty?
I think it could be a hung jury. I don't see what really happens. I don't see how they could arrest him or do anything. I think the worst case, he's probably going to appeal if they do try to convict, but I just don't think they can get away with that, despite the meddling, despite Merchan, the judge, trying to lead the jury into a conviction in Alvin Bragg. I just don't think there's a lot there, and the witnesses had no credibility, and it's not a serious case. It's clearly lawfare and interference. So
exactly.
Anyway.
All right. Do we have anything else to add on this? And then we got a lightning round. We're at the end of the show, just a couple of minutes left, and we're going to do a special live reaction to the Donald John Trump speech asking the Libertarian Convention attendees for their vote, for either for your nomination or for your vote. And the party decided to not give him the nomination. But when you go into the voting booth and you close the little curtain and you're there by yourself and you do the confessional between you and the vote, come on. Are we going to be idealistic or pragmatic? We'll see. I think Trump accomplished getting some of the votes. It's just a matter of, is that one or two votes or a lot of votes? So, okay, lightning round, Blake, in the last couple of minutes here, what do you have for us from the bottom drudges of the interwebs that we need to see?
Well, I guess we could, it's just a quick one from, Real America's Voice. This is Dave. We met Dave at the D.C. event, Libertarian speech, and just Robert De Niro getting hammered by Trump supporters. Again, we. Oh yeah, he got trolled before and after, during, and yeah, it was just a bad publicity stunt, and it was clearly politicized. And the fact that they had those two dirty cops there just is pretty hilarious. It's like a bad B movie, and it's sad to see Robert De Niro fall from grace like that.
It's a damn shame.
So
damn shame, Bobby. All
right.
right. So we'll see who else they trot out there. I'm sure they'll have somebody else in the wings. Oh, okay, here we go. The "Don't Tread on Me" flag. That looks a little different. Who do we got here?
Yeah, that's Chase Oliver, who did get the Libertarian nomination for president.
Excellent. What's the deal there? Don't miss. Oh boy.
He took a lot of. I don't care if he's LGBT or whatever. That's fine. But it's just he was a strange candidate for them to pick, and it's caused quite an uproar with the Libertarian Party. So yeah, before we get to that Trump speech, just kind of showing. Yeah, he made.
This is the direction. This is the direction that the Libertarian Party went in. Although not everybody's going along with them. That is for sure. People are jumping off of that ship. I sense some sort of split in the near future for the Libertarian Party for sure. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but the Dave Smiths, the Angela McArdles, they are out. They are not backing this.
Yeah, and the Clint Russells, and even like other like this is Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, which obviously is big. New Hampshire is very independent like that, and so they're kind of like, well, just complete the sentence. Chase Oliver is what, and I won't get into what. Again, it was a strange pick, but I guess it was the anti-Trump pick. But, just because the delegates there voted for him doesn't mean that the typical libertarian anywhere else in the country is necessarily going to vote for party. It's about principle over party, and they might go with Trump. But, we'll do the reaction. The only and
by the way, regarding him and all that there is. To piggyback off what you said, I don't find it particularly interesting a topic who somebody wants to, the genitals of the person that somebody wants to enjoy. That's not really something that I spend a lot of energy thinking about. When it goes,
talking about transing kids,
when it goes into dressing up it provocatively in front of tiny little children, 3, 4, 5 years old, 6, 7, 8, that's a confusing situation that has no business being near a child. When it gets into supporting, pumping somebody, a child, a tiny human full of interesting hormones, and starting to make procedures to change physiology, that child needs to be protected until they're 18 years old, and they can make whatever personal decision they choose to at 18. When you start supporting stuff like that, that's a non-starter. I could like that's just something that many people see as Frankenstein-ish, abhorrent. It's just don't mess with children. They cannot get a face tattoo. They can't take $100 into the tattoo parlor at 6 years old and say, put a big squiggly mark on my face. Like, you would be sent to jail for abusing a child. That should carry till 18, and that's what libertarians should protect. They say do no harm. Well, do no harm to that child until they're 18. Then if they want to make a decision, do it. But I'm not super familiar with the candidate. I will reach out to the Libertarian Party and invite him onto the Agree to Disagree show. And as in as civil a manner as I can, I'd be interested to hear how he addresses some of these criticisms and all of that stuff. Because I think, once again, we need to have more civil, robust conversations in America instead of fewer. But anyway, what else do you have here? What other pictures? That's from...
Yeah, just some of the controversial things that he stands with. Yeah, it's one thing just being a gay gentleman. It's another thing about, transitioning children, or your previous stances on mask and vaccine mandates, or men and women's sports, or your open border type of policies.
No, open border. That's a non-starter. If you don't leave your car door open in the city, you don't leave your front door open on your house, you don't that doesn't make any sense. That's not a serious policy. It's just it's a non-starter. There's nothing to build on. Like, that's a core component of, you have to start with that as a minimum. Like, we can disagree on some other fringe issues and we can consider it, but like that, that doesn't work in the real world. And I know libertarians would say, look, it's hands off. Let everyone decide for themselves. Well, that just doesn't work in the border.
Okay, so I guess the final story that I have that we can touch on before we get to the speech here.
Oh, we're switching away from Chase? Then let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah, just real quick.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, I guess so. Agree to disagree. I sent you the caption, but I think that was on a different email. So
okay.
It was did Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci, was he organizing a conspiracy to cover up COVID? Which I would say I would agree.
Yes.
So basically, it's twist on Rand Paul. What he said is that he believes Anthony Fauci was in charge of the entire conspiracy. Looking forward to the hearing next week. So, breaking news: the COVID Select Committee has requested access to Dr. Fauci's personal email account and cell phone records. New evidence suggests Dr. Fauci used a secret back channel to communicate about official COVID-19 information. Here's some new evidence here. And then quickly also an article from the New York Post demanding access to the private email, alleged back channel communications. So it looks like Fauci is going to get roasted. The records are due June 12th. Fauci has since retired, but will appear June 3rd before the subcommittee to answer questions about the millions of dollars in National Institutes of Health grants to EcoHealth, which funded risky gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology before the pandemic. So they're saying that there was no worries about Freedom of Information Act requests from this explosive trove of emails that shows one of his guys, Dr. Morin's, bragging about how he deleted, quote, smoking guns about COVID and using a private email to evade the Freedom of Information requests. He says, there's no worry. I can either send stuff to Tony Fauci on his private Gmail or hand it to him at work or at his house in what he called a, quote, secret back channel. So he says he's too smart to let colleagues send him stuff that could cause trouble. So he's trying to shield his boss. So that's some disastrous stuff. Damning emails. There's the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which we all know that's where this gain-of-function research was taking place. This is where COVID came from. They tried to blame it on the wet market next door, but clearly that wouldn't make any sense. So they were clearly meddling. They covered it up, and they allowed this pandemic to continue. And then they've erased the evidence. So they're going to find it, and they're going to have to testify next week. So that's very exciting stuff.
I'm here for it. There is not an issue that I feel more strongly about in prosecuting Fauci for his involvement and his lies and demonizing perfectly viable therapeutic options that could have helped save the lives of many. It's absolutely unforgivable. So I'm here for it. We'll keep our eyes peeled on it. We'll probably maybe give an update next week. Sound good?
So, yeah, absolutely.
I think you might want to check the wire real quick, Blake. It seems as though we have some breaking news here regarding all 34 felony charges. And we're going to want to see.
Well, I'm trying to pull up my Twitter. Okay. See, I see comedian comic Dave Smith saying, wow, Trump found guilty. Very brief and to the point. And they said, is another person I don't like, saying that Trump will be sentenced 4 days before the Republican National Convention. You've got...
hold on. The Republicans are in on it to get him out. So a last-minute plan will sweep somebody right in there because the Republicans don't like him. He took over the party. That Republican party is just like the Democrats.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is wild. Well, What do we make of this? Judge yes, the sentencing will be on July 11th. The RNC is on July 15th. Oh, it's definitely not about the election. Guilty on 34 counts. Ooh, Trump just won the election by Jack Sobek. I think this is going to backfire. Wow. Okay.
The Democrats really just turned this man into a martyr.
Yeah.
Guilty on all charges.
Free Ross, free Roger, free Land, free Assange, pardon Snowden, free Trump. Well,
Trump's jury will now be in the same class as O.J. Simpson's jury and Casey Anthony's jury. A lot of upside down flags for a nation in distress. Keep in mind that the New American Media changed our logo to the upside down nation in distress flag a while ago. Blake, here's a question. Do you think I should put the flag upside down on the outside of my house? Do you think that would draw too much attention? Like if I go hang it up right now today?
I don't know. You get worried about people taking things out of context, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll understand. Some people will get it, and then some people might be like, "Hey," but I mean, I don't know. Is anyone going to knock on your door? That's up to you, but it's not necessarily.
I might go hang that right now after this show. I might go out and drill into the mortar in between the brick, and I'll pop in those little expansion packs, those anchors, those wall anchors. And I'll put up the flag upside down for a nation in distress. Like I think that this is absurd what's occurred. I know that rhymes. That's pretty neat. Absurd what's occurred. So I just haven't understood why the Supreme Court hasn't been able to just jump in and squash this in advance. Like, why did we have to wait? Like, there's no case here. They changed misdemeanors to felonies. They stacked it's a complete show trial. And everyone sees it. Why did we have to go through with this?
Yeah,
Ernest said I'm sorry, real quick. Ernest Rutland. I didn't catch the previous comment, but
let's check out a few of these. Here's Jane Meyer. Sorry, we missed some of these comments. We're behind here. So Jane Meyer called it right away. There's no justice left, so it'll be a guilty. She was absolutely correct on there.
By the way, Blake, let's do this. Let's pause on what we were going to do. We were going to do our show breaking down the Trump speech. We can do that at another time, or maybe I could play it as an outro to our show. Let's stay live right now. At least I will. If you have to go anywhere, take off. I fully understand and appreciate your time today. Blake Walley at TV's Blake Walley, The Next Level News. Follow him. And what is your Cash App if people want to support independent journalism for you, Blake? What is it at? What is it?
I think it's $ Blake W99.
There you go. $ Blake W99. $ Blake W99. If you want to help out the New American Media, we are on patreon.com/the New American Media, and find us on Rumble, YouTube, etc. Let's stay with this and kind of scour YouTube, see what people are saying, getting this instant feedback. Donald Trump. Sherrill says the BS verdict is in. Guilty on all 34 counts. 34 counts of what? Of bookkeeping.
34
statute, of lowering the bar of what a judge could consider to be a guilty verdict. Ernest continues. He says, the clown show continues. The commies will never stop trying to destroy the country. This is the most ardent declaration of war that I have ever seen in my entire lifetime. This has escalated to something I didn't think I would live to witness. It's one thing to imagine going after Barack Hussein Obama and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton for their real crimes. It's another to take out this guy just because he doesn't fit in your trashy globalist America-hating scheme, where you sell your soul, you sell your country, you sell your morals, you sell your values, you sell all your neighbors down the river because you don't give a shit about anybody but yourself. We don't care about those two parties. We're resisting that. And he was the person who was resisting it most strongly. For 4 years, he avoided all of the calls and all of the tricks to get us sucked into some extra foreign quagmire of a war. Gotta just keep feeding bodies to that military-industrial complex. But Trump opposed it a little bit. And then there was a pandemic. And then all hell broke loose. And Trump gets blamed for all of that spending. And here we are. Bigfoot soft wash. The tree of liberty is extremely thirsty. Damn it. Blake.
Let's hope it doesn't come down to that, but let's take a look from one of our political enemies, Aaron Rupar. Here we go. I always post these little clips here. Trump's reaction to his guilty verdict is the same rant he's been doing for 2 months. So here we go. Trump live, or at the time. Convicted on all charges. Holy cow.
Administration, in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win. Because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
Okay, there you go. Sorry, the volume was soft, but that was as loud as I could get it. But he seems pretty calm under the circumstance.
Let me go to this clip from Trump. Did I pull up on the screen here now? I think so. No, there I am.
Yeah, you got it. That's
good.
You.
All right, let's see if we can get this. This is a 12-second clip from Trump. Go full screen. There we are.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
So there you go. The real verdict is going to be on November 5th, Blake. The people are going to have a chance to say what this is all about. I mean, they really just martyred this man on live TV. It's almost unfathomable.
Yeah, I agree. This is wow. This is crazy that this is actually happening right now. I really thought that they would acquit, or they would hung jury, something like that. But yeah, this just shows you how corrupt things are there in New York. And this is a political show trial, and there they go. They got their man. They got what they wanted.
I'll read this one here. This is from one and only Zell. I'm not surprised in the least. A compromised justice system, an unscrupulous, unethical judge, and a jury of absolute fools from New York. All of it is just what Biden and the Democrats ordered. #verdict. There is an image of Joe Biden, perhaps in the White House, with thunderous rages of storm outside, making a deal with the devil. Money cast around all over the ground. Let's play this ad here. Maybe this is timely for you to kind of think about in perspective where we're at in history. Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts just a few moments ago. This is a new conviction. I'm holding that. Nothing. Hang on, I think we might need to mute it so it doesn't get flagged. But this is a compilation. There's a couple interesting videos that dropped today. This is not the one I was thinking of. I will try to find that second one. I did retweet that at American_media_. Please make sure you're following us on one of the few platforms that is free out there, as well as Rumble, the New American Media, YouTube.com, the New American Media. Make sure you're following Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley. And the commercial just says he's fighting. Then it adds for you. And that is definitely why they are coming after him so hard right now, Blake. Here's the frog meme. Is this still called Pepe? Is like any frog considered to be Pepe? I kind of lost track of it.
Not everyone. No, this is definitely Pepe. It's a popular meme and a meme coin. Very popular on crypto, if you guys are into that. Ethereum based.
And He's wearing a nice suit and he's holding up a sign almost to protest and says, "Don't give a F, still voting Trump." And I think, Blake, how many people do you think are going to be feeling this sort of way right now? Don't care, still voting Trump.
Oh, I think, as I would agree with Jack Posobiec there. I think he's going to, this is only going to help him more. This is a political show trial, and it was much to do about nothing. And once they see just how politicized it was and who the characters are, they realize that we are going in a very dangerous direction. This is not America. This is the Banana Republic stuff. It's the stuff you see in communist countries. And I think that could backfire quite badly. But I mean, the Democrats are desperate, so they need something. They need to get it into the heads of people that he's somehow a criminal, even though it's, with this shady lawyer and the porn star of some old business thing from years ago, a hush money payment. Like, who cares? So I don't know whether they're going to try to jail him, but I would assume he's going to appeal this. I don't see him doing jail time, and I don't know, maybe I'm not a legal expert, but I don't know if the Supreme Court can jump in or something else to stop these shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm
curious.
A sad day for America. Right. A sad day for America. Sorry, didn't mean to step on your last word there. What we need to find out is what did you already read what the sentencing is going to be? That's in several days, or because now what happens with the Secret Service? What's going to happen on appeal? How is this going? Is it going to be house arrest? Is it going to be an instant escalator to the Supreme Court with that jumps into action and makes an emergency injunction? We're in uncharted territory, and the Democrats just declared war on America. There's really no other way around it. Like, this was all hypothetical. This was all it was all just so absurd. You just kind of shrugged your shoulders. You're like, oh, it's just those crazy Dems again, committing their crimes, getting away with it. But now they actually got something. Not only did they stage a coup to throw out the sitting president with the incorporation of social media, censoring people whose opinions were not liked, trotting out 51 intelligence officials to lie. And by the way, they're intelligence officials, not former intelligence officials. It's like being a Marine. You never really retire. To lie about the Hunter Biden laptop, to say, oh, it has all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. There was a literal coup that happened. We're not even talking about the voting machines. We're not talking about the drop boxes. We're not talking about anything that hasn't been able to prove in a court of law that it determined and changed the outcome of the election. But we all saw what happened when President Trump was up hundreds of thousands of votes on election night. And then 6 states magically decided we're all going to stop counting at the same time. Even that wasn't too far for some reason, because I think maybe people were waiting for it to get figured out, waiting for, well, some court somewhere is going to rule on this. And we saw the cases, and we're looking at the cases, and there is no case, and it's absurd. And the judge is highly conflicted in issuing ridiculous, air quote, guidelines. None of this will stand up on appeal. But we didn't really expect them to get away with this part of it. We're in new territory. When they get their hands on Epstein, go up, guess what? The guards fell asleep. Whoop, guess what? The cameras went off. Whoop, I don't know what happened. Look what happened to Chauvin getting transferred in. I don't know if he was getting transferred or just walking, and he got shanked about 35 times. They tried to silence him. Not sure if you ever saw the full video of that event or if you read the transcript from the first autopsy or not. But it seems like him existing is kind of inconvenient to the narrative, the agreed upon narrative. And with Donald Trump, think about incarceration. I mean, you're one step away. There was legislation introduced by the Democrats, Blake, to take away Secret Service protection from Donald Trump if he's convicted of something in very specifically like this, so that they can Epstein this guy. That's where we are in this country.
unfortunately, even if they were able to get away with something like that, they would, he's at least still a billionaire. He could have his own private security if needed, but that would be pretty a terrifying thing to try to remove his Secret Service protection and try to put the president, their number one nemesis, behind bars so he could get shanked in prison or what have you. It's unbelievable. Take another look from. Let's see, who else do we have? More enemies. The MSNBC, I'm sure they're giddy.
Do you want to switch the main screen there? Pull mine down and pull yours up. I'll look for some.
Yeah, it's up here.
Okay.
It's a tweet from Kyle Becker showing Rachel Maddow giddy ahead of Trump's guilty verdict in the criminal trial. And so let's take a look here. This is MSNBC's remarks, which called it impeccable despite the fact that 83% of Democrat of the jury members were Democrats. I'm surprised there wasn't a hung jury. So I'm confused on how 17%, if they were Republicans, unless they were never Trump neocons. So there was a prosecutor who ran for office vowing to get Trump, a Biden donor judge whose daughter fundraised off the trial, the judge blocking key defense witnesses, the jury being deprived of written instructions, and judge's instructions, so no unanimous agreement on crime in order to convict. That was their assessment of the impeccable. And here's that thrill up his leg, man crush on Merch and David Weissman. So and of course, Nicole Wallace, who I'm positive is like a CIA military. She's an intelligence plant, not a real journalist. But let's hear what the clown show at MSNBC says.
Rachel Maddow has joined the set. I'm going to make sure you're hooked up, you wired in, you ready to go?
I'm wired in. I've got no computer either, but I've got a lot of thoughts.
Okay, tell me, what do you think?
Well, I mean, this is an important moment, and we don't know yet, and we're about to know. But I just think for those of us who've had the privilege of covering this story, this moment before the verdict gets here is important. Just take a breath, right? We are a democracy. This is a government of, by, and for the people, and that means
we are a republic. Democracy is tyranny by the majority.
That everybody is subject to the rule of law, and we are about to see that in action. And whatever these jurors decided, they are peers of Donald Trump as citizens, and they have followed an impeccable process. And if there's
anything but impeccable.
Anything that isn't impeccable about this process, he will have full access as a defendant to the appeals process.
Okay, well, that's interesting. He has full access to the appeals process. You heard it straight from Maddow. So they're clearly going to appeal. They're not going to say, yeah, there you go. I guess you got us. So we're done. No, they will appeal.
And this is a moment of sort of democratic reset, small d democratic reset for us as a country. Accountability is happening here because we are a democracy and because the rule of law applies to all of us. And as a defendant, he has benefited from the protections that all defendants have. And this is a sober thing. Some people will dance in the streets no matter what this ruling is on one side or the other. Those of us in the
probably them in the studio will be dancing.
Press covering this will not, no matter what it is. We have the responsibility to cover this fairly, but I think we also have the responsibility as citizens to just realize the gravity of this moment.
Rachel.
Okay, well, there we go. Oh, okay, I guess Brian has taken a brief hiatus, so welcome everybody. So sorry for the breaking bad news on Trump getting convicted on multiple accounts. But yeah, the good news is there will be an appeals process, and this isn't over by any means. It's just a temporary setback. So the Democrats and the hacks, the flacks, the lackeys, they can all celebrate for a short time, and they can try to keep Trump out of the RNC, the Republican convention. But I don't see why he would be replaced. I don't think there's anything for him to actually do there anyway. He's just going to be more of a coronation ceremony. And of course, that will be a hot topic at that convention. But I don't expect him to be replaced. Certainly not. I think he could get elected from prison if that were the case. We'd be getting him out of prison. Brian, I don't know if you have any comment on that.
Yeah. I'm still ruminating. The Democrats just declared war. It was all hypothetical. Even with 2020, it was just so much. It was tricky to unpack. It was deceptive and unclear, and it was unprovable in certain ways, and it was obvious. And it was just that inability to really pinpoint what happened that kind of led to where we are now. But the actual guilty verdict, the Democrats have just declared war on the country. And that's a strange place to find yourself. This is from Lizzie Reformed on X. She says, Trump was convicted, but they still haven't arrested the people on Epstein's client list. The rich men north of Richmond hurt kids and they walk free. This place is hell. I mean, what about that, Blake? I mean, priorities, right?
Right. Oh, don't forget this banger here from Jim Norton. He was talking to a friend about today's verdict, and he thinks there's going to be a lot of people with different opinions. We talked about the evidence and stuff like that. Okay, clearly a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, Cody says, I'll be voting for Trump for the first time ever. Fascism, Trump, verdict. What is this one? Everyone rushing to see the verdict. What's Ron DeSantis say? Excuse me. Today's verdict represents the culmination of a legal process that has been bent to the political will of the actors involved. A leftist prosecutor, a partisan judge, and a jury reflective of one of the most liberal enclaves in America, all in an effort to get Donald Trump. By the way, pause. This continues, but maybe that's why it would have been important earlier to circle the wagons and defend Donnie instead of going at the king and missing Ronnie. Anyway, Ron DeSantis continues in his post. I mean, it's better that he's back late than never, but is he back? Because he's going to be the one that they swap in at the last second. Maybe Newsom's the one that they swap in for Biden. And they're going to get the Fox News debate that nobody wanted to begin with. Maybe there's nothing we can do and our votes are pointless. Is it starting to feel that way to you, Blake? Before I continue with this press release from the guy who might have sold our country down the river?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the elections. I mean, it'd be nice if we just had the transparency process and we didn't have to argue about the results. But certainly it's going to come down to November. But you know, I'm expecting more shenanigans. These are desperate people. They need to stay in power, or they know that this is going to be flipped on them. We'll see how they feel about democracy then.
Yeah, we're in uncharted territory. Continuing with Ron DeSantis' response. What's that, Blake?
I was going to say they're already they're celebrating. Oh, they're so excited. They drank their cheers to democracy. Looking forward. She's anarchy. Yeah, dancing in the chair. Bartender gave him free shots. So yeah, the libs are celebrating right now. So I'm looking at the hacks, flacks, and the lackeys here. So it's always interesting to see what the other side is saying.
All right, find some good ones. Let me finish this over here with Ron DeSantis. That this case involving alleged misdemeanor business records violations from nearly a decade ago was even brought is a testament to the political debasement of the justice system in places like New York City. This is especially true considering the same district attorney routinely excuses criminal conduct in a way that has endangered law-abiding citizens in his jurisdiction. Can you make sense of that? It is often said that no one is above the law, but it is also true that no one is below the law. If the defendant were not Donald Trump, this case would never have been brought. The judge would have never issued similar rulings, and the jury would have never returned a guilty verdict. In America, the rule of law should be applied in a dispassionate, even-handed manner, not become captive to the political agenda of some kangaroo court. Thoughts on what DeSantis had to say?
Well, yeah, I think we all gotta, was it hang together or hang separate? So, yeah.
Jeff
I have to
Kuehler
repeat
from the
part of that
Cleveland-
as I was getting distracted. But what was your thought on your Ronnie D? Because I know you've been very critical of him. So what do you make of that?
No, I started trying to like give him kudos, and then I remembered that he was a snake in the first place, and I thought back to those Fox News debates that nobody asked for, and you wondered, why are they putting out Newsom and DeSantis? They're not leading their parties. Well, if you get rid of Trump and say maybe the old guard GOP changes the law and says if you've been found guilty, if you've hey, we want to remove our support for Donald Trump. We're gonna have an emergency session. We've never had a nominee become a felon before. Well, we love the American people and we don't want to subject them to this. Boom, in goes Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley. Two puppets that nobody wanted. Yes, DeSantis has been doing some great things in Florida. That's obvious. That's definable. That's verifiable, quantifiable. Yes. The fact that he even ran for president this time around, because it's in such unique circumstances. It's not so unique to go against somebody who's been president and you're going to give it a shot. But nobody has been under the lawfare attacks that President Trump has been from the Biden-Obama puppeteers. It was a unique moment in time where a true leader would have circled the wagons. And I guess I gave Vivek a bit more of a leash, a bit more more consideration to run his campaign because he never really attacked Trump. Ron DeSantis started off by attacking Trump, thinking he could take his legs out. I did not forget that. I will never forget that. That strategy made no sense. If DeSantis wanted attention, all he'd have to say is, hey, President Trump did some good things in 4 years. He's running again, and I would support that. I'm going to stay out of it. But if something were to occur where he can't participate, I would be there. But instead, now I don't know what I think DeSantis's first question, or at least his first major soundbite when he declared the presidency and after declared for the presidency while Trump was dealing with his charges, he says, well, now I don't know what goes into having to defend yourself from legal charges against a porn star. It's like he was actively participating in the kneecapping of Donald Trump. So I just will always wonder to what degree he's in this plot. Jeff Kuehler says, here's the real meaning of today's guilty verdict against Trump. America is now officially a banana republic. The country as we've known it is over. A former president was convicted of a bogus manufactured crime so that the Biden regime could jail its top opponent. R.I.P. America. Blake, what do you have here? What's the train? What's this about?
Just saying all the report. I was talking about just how the day went, apparently, for this lady, Catherine Rampell. The unrelated reporting she's been working on all day on a story, and all of a sudden the Trump verdict comes in and just pushes everything else out of the news cycle just that quickly. Just kind of been stuck on this one. But, yeah, you can put up whatever you want here. I'm just, basically just going through the Twitter like you are, watching all of the who's who. Give their 2 cents in here, but a lot of people are quite just depending on which list I'm looking at, whether it's the pro America or the hacks, flacks, and lackeys.
Well, let's trade. Let's play some tennis. I'll read off of here. You keep the screen as you find them. This Vince Langman says President Trump's poll numbers are going to go up another 5% this week. Blake, what say you? Do you think he's going to have another boost, a significant boost?
He should, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter until we get to November and we can agree on the results. That's going to be the main thing. Are they going to keep the illegals out? Are they going to clean up the voter rolls? Are we going to deal with, Dominion machinery or these counting machines that we can't audit what actually happens? Are they going to actually, do some canvassing? Are they going to look at IDs? Are they going to check signatures? Are they going to find ballots all the way through the night that they're going to have to keep counting?
By the way, Blake, go to cisa.gov/rumor control so you can get countervailing views regarding the 2020 election. We say this under duress. This is a reminder of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And this is a very dark day for America, regardless of which side you stand. Another one, yes, I'm still voting for Trump. Do you think anybody on the fence has left Trump because he's been found guilty of this sham, this kangaroo court thing that we've all just witnessed?
No, there would be some really weak people that would even think that they don't count for anything anyway, if that's going to be their opinion. But there could be a few of those. But no, I think this is going to strengthen it. Absolutely. So a lot of people are making that argument. This is only going to boomerang on them. Of course, I'll take a. What are they saying? It's this goofball from the Wonket. I thought I just saw a tweet from him. But wow, there's just so many tweets. This is really going. Here we go. Yes, here's Evan Hurst, the crazy wacko from the Wonket. They are all lying and telling themselves this right now. Let them. It will make their impotent rage and confusion funnier to watch in November, because Sobek is saying Trump just won the election. Nigel Farage, the verdict is disgrace. Trump will now win big. Clay Travis, Trump is guilty. In related news, congrats to Donald Trump as election 47th president. So yeah, we're set up for who knows.
Yeah, President Trump once again says, quote, "This was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case. Never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over." Once again, President Trump found guilty on 34 charges. Make sure you're following Blake Walley on X at TV's Blake Walley as he retweets the more interesting takes that he finds scrolling through there, and at thenextlevelnews.com. Of course, this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media, going live, staying live. Blake, I'm thinking I do still want to play the Trump speech. I don't know if we want to do a reaction to it. I mean, we've said what they're
I'm going to say this is taken like I showed that school bus. This is kind of taking the precedent. This is kind of taking the wind out of the sails. This is dominated the headlines. I don't think anybody's going to slow down to listen to last week's speech, but I will certainly get clips and probably be posting a lot of those over the weekend. So people can check that out. Maybe we can do a reaction video on that. That was the intention until this verdict came in. Boom, boom, like the train in the school bus.
Yeah, everything changed.
In the news cycle. I don't see any reason for us to do that now.
Well, I will. When we sign out today, I'll play it as an outro. We'll agree to that.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind it's going to take a lot more space. It's going to make the show like 2.5 hours long, and it's going to be a ginormous file. But they can find it on your channel. And then we'll make clips this week.
All right, what else we got about this? President Trump guilty on 34 counts, it seems. What else are we finding about this? What else do we have to say? Leave your comments, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, Mad Cow being guilty.
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of, just depending on where we look, but I don't know. They're talking about flying the flag upside down. So, Brian, maybe you should go out and do that. I think you should now.
Yeah, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it today.
Okay, I agree with that. So, I don't know what else to say. Jimmy Corsetti, American justice system has collapsed. Anyone that supports this blatant miscarriage of justice is an enemy of America. And everybody's saying that this will get Trump reelected in 2024. It needs to come to grips that the 2020 was actually, now these are Jimmy's words, not mine, YouTube, stolen. And go to CISA.gov for the most safe and secure election ever in 2020. How dare Jimmy question the integrity of the election? But some do wonder, and they are whatever.
This account here, I am Leah, says, "I had no intention of voting for Trump until y'all started this shit." You're going to find a lot of people that see this for what it is. And they know that if they're able to get away with this, we are next. Lord help us all, Blake. That's painfully obvious. Jessica Bowman, Trump is the people's president. I'm still voting for Trump. This banana republic win in the battle won't win the war for America. It's time for the silent majority to rise again. Yeah, Trump can still be the nominee. He can still win from jail. It's like the Nelson Mandela strategy. You win from prison.
Right. Or the Mandela effect.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when Trump got found guilty and you go, no, he wasn't. I don't know. Well, that's a story for another day. But here we go. We're a nation in distress, Brian. As you can see on the screen, there's another banger from Jimmy. U.S. Flag Code, Title 36, Chapter 10, Section 176.
Yeah, share that. Tag us on that. Blake's at TV's Blake Walley, and we are at American_media_. Jeff Kuhner again says today's guilty verdict against Trump is not the result of democratic lawfare. That term is too soft. Rather, it is the result of democratic warfare. Progressives have declared political war on Trump, MAGA, and itself, and America itself. It's time to declare political and legal war on them. This is where we are, Blake. This is the Civil War breaking point. Like, there is no more playing around. There is no more chit chat. There is no, those silly, crazy Dems. Like, just look around at every upside down flag today. The people see it as we've seen it for a long time now. Also, this person saying yawn. Now it'll go to appeal where it will all be reversed. We all know Trump is innocent and we're still voting for him, but I mean, how close do you think we are to a legitimate civil conflict here? Like, there is a breaking point that can be reached in any society. And this feels like the Dems just declared war in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, they've already declared war, but now they've taken it to a whole new level. And if they're going to go after Trump, they're going to come after us. So if we cannot agree on the results of this next election coming up, then and somehow they pull it out. There's ballot dumps in the middle of the night and they stop counting and whatever. Mail-in balloting forever. If it's shady and weird, and it's basically going to be looked at it as a coup. Some people looked at 2020 was a coup, but if it happens in 2024 and it's as crazy as it was in 2020, I think it's either going to be time for a national divorce or there could be a chance for a civil war. Absolutely, it's pretty much us or them.
And how many people in the 30 million that snuck across into this country without being checked, without being vetted, how many of these people are going to go on, take that opportunity to push for their agenda, which may or may not overlap with Republican agenda, Democrat agenda, or yet third, fourth, fifth. There could be many other people fighting to get a piece of things with a very detailed plan. We have a standing army in our country ready to activate. Imagine the power goes out, the internet goes down. Don't you think you're on a list? Don't you think they know exactly how to find you and 4 people could show up pretty quickly? Like, that's what every person listening to this needs to think about right now. A war has been declared. Laura Loomer is reporting that President Trump's donation page just crashed because so many people are donating after he was just found guilty on all 34 counts in his sham trial. They're getting the 500 something went wrong error message. So this would be a good opportunity to.
Yeah, it's right there. That's the message that people are saying. So there's so many people trying to send in donations that the system crashed, the fundraising platform.
Yeah. You know what to do, people. There's okay, Scott Adams. I just donated to Trump. The donation page crashed from traffic. This is the hill to die on.
I would agree with that.
We're here.
Yeah, if these radical communists masquerading as Democrats who keep talking about democracy, which is tyranny by the majority, and they're jailing their political opponents. They've jailed innocent protesters from J6, and they are doing some awful things. And we can't trust the integrity of the election because they lack transparency. So if they try to, force us to live under their rule and start cracking down on, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and start changing this country, they will force people to either, hopefully, a peaceful national divorce, but the worst case scenario is that there is a actual hot civil war. And I it's sad, but that might be the case. And our forefathers did it. They didn't want to do it. But sometimes in history, these things have to be done. And it's actually our duty in the Declaration of Independence to go against a corrupt government if it's not serving the people anymore. So,
and by the way, let me read this. This is something that we shared out at the New American Media on X. It says, this is what they were distracting you from with the Trump verdict. Joe Biden gave permission to Ukraine to use U.S. weapons inside of Russia. This is World War III level BS right here. It's a Cavuto report video that we just shared. Take a look at that one. Yeah, this is was this Charlie Kirk? Trump reacts to Manhattan jury's guilty verdict. The real verdict will be November 5th by the people. Of course, Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 charges in this kangaroo court in New York that has solidified the fact that the Democrats have just declared war on America. The whole country, Charlie Kirk continues, the whole country is being rigged right now. This is being done by the Biden administration in order to hurt or wound a political opponent. We'll fight to the end and we'll win. This is long from over, says Trump. So yeah, we are trying to unpack this here. Upside down flags everywhere. I didn't want to be right about this. But I saw it coming. I knew where we were headed, and we're not even in the worst of it. Blake, I said this to many people over the years. I fear that the next war is going to be a blended civil war, revolutionary war, and world war all rolled into one. It's going to be real hard to figure out who's on whose side. I am more convinced than ever that that's exactly where we are with the standing armies that Biden imported and positioned strategically and funded and perhaps even armed. And when the lights go out, it's game time. How ready are you? How ready are people out there who are watching this? I've never seen an assault on a country like this, especially in America. It's never been like this. You can run some dirty tricks, some smear campaigns. You can go to certain lengths, but it's never been like a third world country, a banana republic like this before.
No. So yeah, I guess everybody's got to get ready now. Unfortunately, that's what they are doing. The pressure has been amped up. So get prepared. Because we might have to fight for the republic, assuming what takes place. So hopefully this cooler heads, things will cool off. He'll do the appeal. They'll say this is ridiculous. It's a politicized show trial. Have a fair election. Make it transparent. But they've also set the precedent. They're going to do everything it takes to win this no matter what. If that's legalizing the illegals, they will absolutely. Because their biggest fear is for Trump to get back into power and start retaliating because they've set the precedent. So they're going to go after him for this stupid stuff. Well, wait till Trump and the MAGA side starts going after them for real stuff. That's when the shit's going to hit the fan. Well,
right. Greg Gutfeld responding to the Trump verdict. Quote, it feels more arranged than a marriage in Kabul. It feels more arranged than a marriage in Kabul. Yeah, you work your way backwards. Like, okay, well, the result is guilty. How do we find a way to get to guilty? However you feel about it, Ian Miles Chung says, know this, the Rubicon has been crossed. Remember this moment. America is now a banana republic. It is no longer a nation of laws. We have entered strange territory today. There is no going back from this. Like I said, all this, even 2020, the overthrow of the country felt different than this. That was too confusing. It was too in the moment. So many states, the pandemic, the drop boxes, the ballot, the machine tabulators that we couldn't properly audit, pausing the election in the middle of the night with Trump being up hundreds of thousands of votes in all the key six key swing states. And it was, you had a month to figure it out, and it's questions and complaints and waiting, and it didn't happen fast enough. And then Pence didn't kick it back, and then Congress, and then the Supreme Court never jumped in because, as they said in closed door meetings, there were screaming matches that you're not going to participate in this. All of that felt It was rushed. It was confusing, complicated, murky. And you were facing a very focused campaign to just try to gaslight you without Control of X, without Truth Social, without Rumble being the big player that it is now. And nobody could talk on Meta. Nobody could talk on Twitter. Nobody could communicate what everybody saw right in front of them. That felt different than this. Actually going and changing what is a bookkeeping snafu at the worst into something that you could charge a president, the leading, not just leading in the party. He's up by 10 points across the board. Like, these polls are not even generous enough. He's probably up 15, 20 points. We've never seen a debacle like what Barack Hussein Obama's puppet masters have put around Joe Biden's term to steer him into the worst policy decisions America has ever seen. This feels like the Rubicon has been crossed, Blake. What's Ted Cruz saying?
I think it's a dark day for America. The entire trial has been a sham, and it is nothing more than political persecution. The only reason they prosecuted Donald Trump is because Democrats are terrified that he will win re-election. This disgraceful decision is legally baseless and should be overturned promptly on appeal. Any judge with a modicum of integrity would recognize that this entire trial has been utterly fraudulent.
David Limbaugh says, I can't deny it. This verdict, predictable as it was, hit me way harder than I thought it would. I am livid. What say you, Blake? How is this hitting you? Did you expect this? How's it hitting you?
I mean, it's not a shock. I mean, I'm rarely surprised these days. I thought it was going to be tossed out like the rest of these. But no, I know they want to get their guy, and this was a sham trial we've already covered. So it's not it's to be expected, and at least there's an appeal process. So, and then hopefully something will step in and just get rid of it completely. But even if somehow, some way they were able to send him to jail, these things that is going to prevent him from winning either way. So the American people are still going to vote for this guy, and they see this Banana Republic stuff, and they're going to put their guy in, regardless of what they do. And this is going to be one of the reasons why, is they keep persecuting him for these ridiculous things.
Candace Owens says, we just live in a banana republic, guys. Time to just accept that. Nothing is legitimate, not the media, our elections, or the courts. This guilty verdict doesn't shame Trump. It shames our country. That's well said, Candace.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what a day.
Justice is dead. Trump is innocent. I stand with Trump. Hodge twins. The positive in this guilty verdict is that Trump is going to have the largest turnout in U.S. history to vote for him in November. Take it to the bank. You agree with that? Will Trump have the largest turnout in U.S. history in November?
Again, yes, he will. And as we mentioned earlier, Alex Stein, because we saw his stand-up, and he said that Trump won all 50 states as in-person voting on election day. He won all 50 states. Biden won all 50 states through the ballot box, through the mail-in ballots that were maybe not checked that thoroughly, and had late night and had drop-offs in the middle of the night. So that is a major problem. And I don't know if they're going to have another pandemic or whatever, but expect dirty tricks. And
I want to welcome Kenneth B. to the program. Yes, he's saying trumped up charges indeed. And in his most flowery, glowing language, he's saying that this whole thing it's a steaming load. It's a steaming load. Yeah. Whoever it was that said it, it was so perfect. There is nobody who watches history, who reads a history book in America's future, in the history of humanity. Just go down the line. Someone who looks back. People will never believe that the term trumped up charges did not originate from this Democrat attack, from this deep state Democrat attack on President Donald John Trump in lawfare, unprecedented. Joseph D. McBride, Esquire, says, every American citizen who disagrees with the Trump verdict should fly their flag upside down. I think it's a guarantee this needs to happen, Blake. I'm burning daylight. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and do that.
We're approaching the 2-hour mark. We have about 5 more minutes, so why don't we wrap this up and then you can go fly your flag, and we'll cover more next time. Crazy. Well, good to see you, Kenneth, and everybody listening. Thank you for your support. And we'll just run out a few more highlights, and then this is a historic day. Not for the good reasons necessarily. Not at all. This could be the beginning of the next Civil War.
Have you seen the movie Civil War?
No, I heard it was really bad, but that's not going to stop me from watching it. But I am curious. What have you seen it?
No, maybe I'll see it tonight.
Is it in the theater or is it in on Netflix or something?
I don't know. It was theaters, but I mean, it's been out for a while now. CJ Pearson says today's guilty verdict of President Trump will forever mark the day in American history that we became a third world country. Legal scholars from Alan Dershowitz on the left and Judicial Watch on the right labeled this case a witch hunt from the beginning. Daniel Baldwin, rigged, sham Bolshevik, Moscow show trial. I don't know. I mean, we could fiddle around on Looney Tune X to see what people are saying, but this is kind of Harmeet Dillon. There we go. This verdict is a disgrace. It makes me ashamed of the New York legal system where I started as a lawyer over 30 years ago. If they can do this to the leading presidential candidate, they can do it to any of us. It should be overturned on appeal, and I'm voting Trump. Are you with me? That is Blake, speak on that. That's such a powerful message that President Trump has been repeating at every speech. If they're not coming after me, they're coming after you. I just happen to be in the way. This just further solidifies the truth behind that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and what they do to him is what's going to happen to us one by one. We're going to get picked off. So there needs to be a national divorce before these people get further out of control, and they start changing this thing into this obscene democracy that they're pushing for when this is a constitutional republic. So they're going to get rid of the Bill of Rights. They're going to get rid of freedom of speech. They're going to get rid of the Second Amendment. They're going to get rid of the Fourth Amendment. They're going to the 10th Amendment. It's all going to be a big top down federal kleptocracy, and everybody's going to be in danger by then. So there is no America anymore, and there's no voting it back in. And if they legalize all these illegal aliens, we're never going to be able to win. So we can kiss the country goodbye, and we'll just descend into the Hunger Games over the next couple of decades, and this will just be an afterthought. People won't even remember it, and it'll be like 1984, and they'll just erase it out of our history. It'll just be a fading memory. By the time
Doug here in the comments section saying they just declared war on themselves by doing this. It will now be open season on any Democrat in the future in conservative-run states, and rightfully so. Doug, I've been calling on that forever. Where is the lawsuit from the Florida district attorney on Alvin Bragg and Judge Merchan for violations of civil rights of Florida resident Donald Trump, and for election interference? He's a Florida resident. Why is Florida not directly suing the people who have set these framed charges up against President Trump? For the life of me, I don't really understand why they haven't. Why the conservative-run states haven't done this already. Lauren Boebert, she says, as we all knew, this was always about election interference and stopping President Trump from winning his rightful re-election to the White House. The American people see through the Democrat games and know this is a sham verdict. We stand with President Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump convicted of all 34 charges today in New York. You're watching the Agree to Disagree show. I'm Brian Engelman. That is Blake Walley. Thank you for finding us. CJ Pearson saying this New York jury would have indicted a ham sandwich in a MAGA hat. Today's verdict isn't just a disgrace, it's un-American. It's a Trump dump. Yes, you're right. Breaking news while we were talking. Derek Van Orden, this verdict and entire Trump trial are disgusting. The Democrat Party has just put the United States on the same level as Soviet Russia. This is a black day for our nation. Charlie Kirk continues. Today's sham verdict shows Democrats are still seeking retribution from Trump, ruining Hillary's glass ceiling party in 2016. They started this vile cycle, and they act shocked and appalled when Trump tells us he will be our retribution. Stay peaceful. Our revenge is coming. That's a good message right there.
Absolutely. Don't overreact to any of this stuff. There's an appeals process, and then there's the ballot box. But we're heading down there. We got less than 6 months to the election, and it could be the civil war if we're not careful. But hopefully,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. Hopefully, that won't come down to that. We don't want to see things get violent within our own country here. That would be such a shameful end to such a great republic and such a great human experiment with the Constitution and what this country's been able to accomplish, and to throw that all away would be it would be a sad day for the country and the whole planet, because if America falls, the rest of the world falls. And we're going to be into a new dark age on this planet, and it might be hundreds of years before things turn positive again for the freedom of humanity.
That's just astonishing to think about. Another journalist that I was able to meet for the first time over in the Bronx, and once again, that is one of the best parts about doing what we do, is just kind of meeting people who've been in this industry for a while. Savannah Hernandez, she sends out an X post saying our justice system is a fake, and our constitutional rights are a mirage. Hopefully, today's verdict wakes up more Americans to how far we've truly declined as a country. Yeah, people are going to wake up to this, Blake. It's going to be hard to just pretend we didn't just see what we just saw.
Yeah, no, this isn't. Yeah, this is. They've made their move. The Democrats are very desperate. They got what they wanted, but this could be turned against them, which means they're going to get even more desperate and dangerous. Try to withhold their power, because they can't have Trump get in, especially now. They've set the precedent. They've done this to themselves, though. So here you go. Like you said, they crossed the Rubicon. There's no going back from this. They got what they wanted. Now what are they going to do? Now what are we going to do? So things have changed.
Governor Mike Lee. So this is Governor Larry Hogan sends out, regardless of the result, I urge all Americans to respect the verdict and the legal process. At this dangerously divided moment in our history, all leaders, regardless of party, must not pour fuel on the fire with more toxic partisanship. We must reaffirm what has made this nation great, the rule of law. Based Mike Lee responds, I don't respect this verdict, nor should anyone. Mike Lee continues, New York, the politically motivated lawfare state. New York, please invest and do business in our state. But if you lose favor with our political elites, we'll drain your assets and throw you in prison. Americans, hell no. Mike Lee, one more. By the way, Mike Lee, a speaker at the convention, the Libertarian Convention a couple days ago in D.C. We'll be adding more videos. So check out those. Mike Lee saying, congratulations, progressives. You've just guaranteed Trump's election. Just guaranteed Trump's election. So there we are, Blake. What is this from the Bee? Where do you have this?
It's, I guess, a headline from the Bee. Donald Trump found guilty of being Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Monica Crowley, fake crime, fake case. By the way, these are air quotes. So fake, air quote, crime, fake case, fake judge, fake verdict. Vivek, what's Vivek got to say? Trump led criminal justice reform. Now he's suffering criminal injustice at the highest level. One of the surprising effects of this sham verdict, more black voters will flock to Trump in droves, and for good reason. I didn't think the Democrat Party would be so dumb, but here we are. You know, this weaponized legal system is it's terrifying, and it almost loses instant credibility. At least in New York, it does. At least in places like New York, where it's weaponized, it loses credibility. Paul Joseph Watson, just once again quoting, as President Trump has been found guilty, air quote, guilty on 34 charges. Paul Joseph Watson says, he's quoting from President Trump today, the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. That's the best line you could have written in that case. USMC Lady Vet says this country has entered the most dangerous uncharted waters since its inception, possibly other than the Civil War. Anyone who supports this verdict or celebrates it is a danger to you, your family, and the United States of America. I will vote Donald Trump. I will not care if he's in prison.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, it's us or them. So
Ryan Fournier says no guilty verdict is going to stop a MAGA supporter from voting for Trump. We all know the system is rigged and they're trying to take down the greatest threat to their power. I will crawl over broken glass to vote for this man. You?
Well, would I crawl over broken glass, like Die Hard, to vote for Donald Trump?
I mean,
I guess so.
We've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this.
Right. Yeah, I guess we all have to, huh?
Bethany Mandel says the average American has tuned this case out because they have tried this nonsense so many times. We are numb. But with this verdict, people will actually look into the details of the case and realize what bullshit it is. This is going to radicalize Donald Trump voters and create new ones. Bo Snerdley says the guilty verdicts are rolling in. This is the worst day of American so-called justice in memory. The Democrat Party has trashed American justice in their attempt to destroy Donald Trump.
Yep. All right. Well, Brian, I don't know if we're ready to wrap this one up here. This has been a historic day. Dark day for America.
All right. And you're saying you would prefer to not add the Trump to the end of this because you think it's a long video and you think people don't like long videos. I would vote to toss the video on here. Are you strongly suggesting that we don't?
Brian, you've already got it on your channel. Why add it to this already? The Trump
because people are watching and because the verdict just broke and we get to hear him. And
Brian, you do you. If you want to run it, you go ahead. You're the one that's got to upload the 3-hour file. I don't care what you want to do. I want people to be able to watch the archives, and when they see a 3-hour show, they're going to be like, nope, sorry, not going to watch it. But if it's 2 hours, that maybe. Now we got the speech. I don't care. You do it. It's all good. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been an interesting day to cover it. So I'll leave it.
There's the Breitbart. There's the Breitbart war.
Yep.
Who sent that out? Can you reshare that? That's
that Kyle Becker sent it to Timcast because that's what Timcast said. War. There you go.
There's no other way around it. The Democrats have just declared war on America. So let's pause for now. Maybe I'll go live in a little bit. Maybe I don't know. Figure it out. We had a plan to run the speech and do a reaction to it. Maybe we will. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll do this later. Maybe we'll figure it out. But yeah, breaking news.
Has changed considerably. Yeah.
Say that again.
The news cycle has changed considerably.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure you go to the Rumble account and the YouTube. Check the New American Media. We have the Donald Trump speech. And we're also posting the Ron Paul speech. We have the RFK Jr. speech, and we're going to be adding the Vivek Ramaswamy and Dave Smith debate. So that'll be up as well. Just a lot of interesting stuff breaking. A 3-hour tour. Kenneth is siding with Blake. A 3-hour tour never goes well. I don't know. Like Blake said, I'm the one that has to upload it. So maybe I could just play it again and deal with it on this historic day where the Democrats declared war on America. The New American Media was in the room and filmed the last speech to the public, aside from his remarks just there, in the room of hostile people, essentially like the New York voters shrieking at him the libertarians just yelled at him the whole time. And Trump just stood there and took it and just plowed through and delivered in a really tough room, because he's a really tough guy. And that's why they're coming after him so hard. So, yeah, Blake, when would be a good time to do the reaction to it? Now that we didn't get to do it at 3:00 today, do you have a good time in the next day or two, or should I do it on my lonesome? What do you prefer?
Well, I would like to go through it and do some highlights, because it could be quite extensive, depending on what how long the commentary goes. This isn't scripted, so we do these off the cuff. Okay, so it sounds good in theory, and I don't want it to balloon into a 3-hour tour like Gilligan's Island. But no, I like the idea. That was the original plan. But yeah, now that this has taken everything out of the news cycle.
All right, so that's what we'll do.
There's still highlights worth checking out. So I will work on those, and they'll be on all weekend. There's a lot of stuff to get to, a lot of work to get to.
A lot still. I know. Wouldn't it be great to have a team of people where we could file the reports and then just keep getting more reports, and they're filed and people are, but it's like, you got to do everything.
That's the hard part, man. Yeah, it's one thing to show up at the event. It's the second thing to film and, get the footage. And then the third part is sometimes the most difficult, and that's all the post-production and the uploading and all the extra work that has to go into that, and the writing and so much. But yeah, here we are.
Agreed. Okay, well then Blake will work on the shorts. Maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, I'll do a segment and do a reaction to the Trump speech at the Libertarian Convention this weekend. Might do a reaction to Vivek. Just being there, I think there's parts of these messages at these events that would be very important to multiply that out there. So Blake will get the bite-sized pieces for you, and we'll kind of do a longer version. I don't intend on it being a marathon, by the way, but I think I do have several comments, a couple of sentences per point that are made. Definitely want to knock that out before I forget about it. It's on the brain. But yes, today, Trump convicted on 34 charges at a trial. These are air quotes if you're just listening on Spotify. Now, Spotify is not real. Anyway, Kenneth saying,
in an ideal world, we could get all the highlights and then just comment on the highlights rather than doing the entire speech.
We'll do both. Indeed. Bite size for Blake and behemoth for Brian. That's how this works. So, Blake, why don't you sign out and tell people where they can find you in all of the places?
The main things would just be Twitter X at TV's Blake Walley. And then, of course, the archive is always on thenextlevelnews.com.
Yes, don't forget that. And also, if you would like to support independent journalism, Blake's on Cash App. He is $Blake W99.
Yeah.
That's money sign Blake W99.
Or you could go to the website, and I think I've got all my cryptos account. You can send me some Pepe.
Ooh, hey now.
I don't have any Pepe, in full disclosure. Not that I have anything against it, but
do you have a if you have something I need to add to this so that I can put your crypto link on screen, I would.
No, you don't want a big crypto address on there. No, but I think it's on my website. I have to go look. It's been a while. So
all right, well, yeah, it's just we love going to these live events and we love covering these situations in person. Being independent media, though, the expenditures stack up. So if you like to support independent media, please follow Blake and do that. All right, Blake, I will release you at the moment, and I'll give everybody the ways to find the New American Media on the way out. Blake, thank you, sir. Who are you rooting for in today's game?
Shocker. I'm going to go for the Minnesota Timberwolves, my hometown team, to beat Dallas in Minneapolis and continue the series.
All right. Well, good luck on that. May you have a wonderful evening. I'm partial to Kyrie Irving. I like the kid, so
thanks,
we'll
Brian.
see. I'll probably root for whoever comes out of the West to win it all. We'll leave it at that. So, thank you, Blake. Appreciate you. To be continued. What a show today!
Yeah,
man. Breaking news as we were delivering our regularly scripted program. That gets interesting, doesn't it? So let me tell you about how you can help the New American Media if you would like to support what we do. I guess on Venmo, I'm at Brian Engelman, Engelman. Patreon.com/The New American Media. You can sign up to do the cup of coffee for $5 a month or $15 a month for like Netflix, or $100 a month or $1,000 a month. If you like independent journalism, just know that it probably all in all went into the $2,000 range to get people over to the convention and to the Bronx for 5 days. You have hotel, you have travel, you have food, you have equipment. So if you want to support independent journalism, patreon.com/the New American Media. So if everything goes sideways, the newamericanmedia.com will be the place to find us. That has been an anchor site for us. I don't regularly update that per se. It's been on the to-do list for a while. But frankly, when we're putting all this other content into other platforms, it's not something we've really prioritized recently, although we do intend to. So I'd say maybe watch the next couple weeks for some new content, but that should theoretically have our Facebook feed. We have a page for the New American Media. So find that and follow that, like that, articulate, communicate with that. We also have TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. It's a private group on Facebook. So if you just put TNAM and search TNAM, you should be able to find a whole bunch of groups: TNAM Sports, TNAM Humor, TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Grow Something. We have lots of different groups for different subsets of interest levels. That's where we are on Facebook. On Meta, the New American Media has a page. Go like it. On Truth Social, we are the New American Media. We need more people to like our page on Truth Social and help us share our content. So if you could, please do that. On Spotify, do the search for The Agree to Disagree Show. That's where you will find our podcasts once they're uploaded after these programs that we do live. On Rumble, it's the New American Media. Subscribe. We've been having quite a bit of boost in our channel after uploading the RFK speech, the Trump speech. Go there and watch those, please. And subscribe on Rumble. On Telegram, we're TNAM for the New American Media. TNAM and TNAM Chat on Telegram. And on X, we are at American_media_. Once again, recapping. Donald Trump found guilty on all charges today in New York. What comes next? Secret Service, jail time, house arrest. Are they going to remove Secret Service? They've really put a hit out on Donald Trump on a day where they have declared war on the American people. Yes, I said it. They've declared war on the American people. You know what? I'm tempted to play this speech here. But you know what? I will pause. Blake likes shorter shows. So I will come back maybe later today, maybe tomorrow morning, afternoon, and I'm going to do the reaction speech to Trump's Libertarian Convention speech. Find it on youtube.com/the New American Media, Rumble, the New American Media. All right. The Democrats declared war. What are you doing today? I should have played this outro earlier, folks. It's the transition. Here it goes.